Hello, keyholders. My name is Brogar DM, and welcome back to another episode of Our Life Beginning and Always. Today, we are going to be completing the sleepover and the beginning segment. If the sleepover is not too long, I'm recording this video right after the last one, so I don't know if I'm going to split that video up into two yet. We'll see how it goes, and I don't know if I'm going to do the same to this one. We'll see how long it is, but yeah, let's just get straight into it, take a step back, and let's start with Sleepover. I have a feeling after the last one that this one's going to be a little more light-hearted. Let's go.
Okay.
Immediately with you, of course. All right, kids, we're done with dinner. Come to the table. Your stomach grumbled right on time, as if it had heard your mom's words. You halted your game and looked over. Mom was almost done setting the table. She was walking around the mahogany wood in the process of putting down cutlery. Mom was still in the kitchen, humming under her breath as she turned off the stove and put empty pots in the sink to wash. From beside you, Lizzie stirred, uncrossing her legs and standing up. She stretched her arms above her head. Finally, I'm ready to eat. Then she cast a sly glance in your direction. You recognize that look. Last one to the table's rotten egg. I haven't... But it was too late. Lizzie had already bolted towards the kitchen. You threw a cushion at her. Grabbing one of the cushions from the sofa, you threw it half-heartedly towards her, in the hopes of slowing her down. It wasn't firm enough, however, and the cushion landed with a plop on the ground instead. It was a short distance to the kitchen table. Lizzie managed to get there easily enough, slapping a hand over the wood. Mom moved just before Lizzie could bump into her, with an exasperated sigh as she resumed her work. I win again. Okay, you won. I knew it! That means you're a rotten egg. Lizzie grinned, her hands on her hips. Then she looked over your shoulder. Cove, you think so too, right? You blinked. You hadn't noticed what he had been doing during this little event, which wasn't much. You spotted Cove was still on the floor. His legs were crossed beneath him, the arm with the cast resting in his lap. He looked at the two of you with a slight frown. It felt sort of strange to see him still here so late. Tonight, Cove had come to your house for a sleepover. Your moms and his dad had planned it a few days ago. You weren't surprised. You were the one who had asked your moms about it. You were excited when your moms told you the idea. There was so much to do. It had made you quite nervous. It had made you quite nervous. Cove was your friend, but having him spend the night was a lot more than playing during the day. Cove pursed his lips at Lizzie's question, but he didn't respond. Maybe he was planning on ignoring her. Not that Lizzie would make it easy. This wasn't the first time she had asked him to be a referee for one of her sudden races. Yeah, she does do it. She does do... You know what? Don't cut me off. Okay, I like you. I like you now. Don't cut me off, though. Well, did I win or what? No. What? I don't think you won. It's not my fault, or as slow. Cheating's cheating, and cheaters never win.
You always pick her side.
Fair. But I'm still gonna say it anyway. You always pick her side. Cove snuck a shy peek at you before answering her. I pick her, and she picks me. You're a couple of rotten eggs, then. That's enough. Nobody here is a loser or a rotten egg. You're each farm fresh. Which is a sentence I never thought I'd say. Huh.
All right.
Now listen to Mom and come sit at the table for dinner, all three of you. You and Lizzie obeyed, sitting across from each other at the edge of the table. Lizzie blew a raspberry at you and when Mom turned her back. Your parents brought the last of the food, then they took seats further down the table instead of sitting right next to you and Lizzie. Only Cove was left out. He had stood up from his spot on the floor, but he hadn't made a move towards the kitchen. Cove, you can sit too. Slowly, he eyed the 4 seats that were left. Thanks to the new seating arrangement, your parents chose one free chair was beside you, another next to Lizzie, and the last two were on the other side of where your moms were sitting.
You can sit anywhere you want to.
Cove's gaze met your red eyes. Briefly, he grinned back. I forgot I made my eyes red. I legitimately forgot about that, so when he said that, I was just like, oh, I'm a demon now. No, I went with red eyes because I wanted to go with the channel stuff, that's right, yeah. Okay. He walked over, pulled out the chair next to yours, and sat down. You were glad he wanted to sit with you. He just needed to know it was okay. Now that everyone was situated, Mommy began to pass out plates.
Okay.
Dig in, kids. I cooked a little bit of everything for dinner tonight.
Be sure to avoid all of the veggies.
Ugh.
Yes. Yes, Mom.
Did she say avoid or eat? I think she said avoid. Each person at the table served themselves except for one. Cove hesitated again. He fidgeted with his hands clamped on the top of his knees. He didn't seem very comfortable doing stuff in someone else's house. One dish seemed to have his eye, at least.
That's pineapple chicken. Wanna try some?
Not really, sorry. By then your moms had noted that Cove still had nothing on his plate as well. Do you not like any of the food, honey?
Wow.
Maybe he hasn't tried Hawaiian before.
He hasn't? Wow.
Please don't talk with your mouth full, Lizzie. Oh. Lizzie swallowed the bite she was eating, then she spoke again.
You should try it now.
She turned to Cove dramatically.
Unless you want to shrink. That's what happens if you miss a meal.
Elizabeth, that's not true and you know it. Cove squirmed under all the attention. He fidgeted with a fork between his fingers. I've had some things, just not any of this.
Shoot.
Oh, shoot! I knew I should have asked your dad what your favorite foods were. It's all right, Lanny. Maybe he'll find a new favorite today. Oh, are you Hawaiian? Oh, that'd be really cool. I actually don't know where we are. Are we in Hawaii? Did it say? I don't know if it said. We're gonna assume yes, we're in Hawaii. It's all right, Lani. Maybe he'll find a new favorite today. You weren't so sure about that. Cove didn't look like he was going to be trying the food anytime soon.
You should try something new. Aren't you tired of eating the same old things?
You were only trying to help, but it seemed to make Cove even more resistant to tasting any of the dishes. He sat back in his chair, folding his arms across his chest stubbornly. I like the same old things. Mom shook her head over the debacle. This was becoming...
It's okay.
New isn't always exciting for everyone, but it could be this time, Cove.
Sorry, I didn't mean old things were bad.
Cove loosened his stance again, at the comforting remark.
But it's dinner, and you shouldn't eat nothing. The ribs and chicken are yummy.
You guessed Cove trusted your judgment, because eventually he took a little of the two dishes and put them on his plate. At first, Cove poked at the food. Clearly, he was apprehensive to eat something new, but he took a few exploratory bites.
Right?
Hawaiian food's amazing, so you're missing out, bro.
It's good, huh? Isn't it?
You don't have to keep asking. He still speared more meat with his fork and ate it, chewing thoughtfully. Not bad. Mommy grinned at his words, satisfied, even though it wasn't exactly a glowing commendation. Lizzie wasn't as mollified.
You're so weird.
Don't be mean to your friend. We're not friends. Oh. Mommy floundered in the face of Cove's blunt honesty. You weren't surprised by Cove's declaration, but you did feel a little bad for Lizzie. She wasn't easy to get along with all the time, though Cove didn't make much of an effort either. You wondered how he... That still made you nervous about your... At least the two of you were definitely friends. You two were friends, right? I don't think that's a question. We're definitely friends. He let me go with him. He always wants to hang out with me. He shared ice cream with me. He just seems apprehensive about Lizzie. I feel like at this point in our relationship, I felt for the first couple of moments I was like trying to be more nervous, but at this point I'm like, no. She's known him long enough. They're friends. You knew that without a doubt, the way he felt about Lizzie didn't change it. When you gave Cove a look, he returned a small smile, confirming your thoughts. Your mommy looked at Mom and only got a shrug.
No.
Elizabeth, don't call someone weird. There's no such thing as a weird person and a non-weird person. There's just different perspectives. Hey, I take offense to that. I like being a weird person. I take a stance as that. And if you're weird out there, you can stand with me on this subject. It's not a nice thing to say to someone, anyone but Pam. Mommy tried to whisper exclusively to Mom. Her attempt to make it audible over the sounds of clanking silverware meant you caught the quiet words anyway. We're not friends. He said so. As parents, we can only try, and sometimes we fail. Not all kids will be thick as thieves. Now, less talking and more eating. You need to clean up and start winding down for bed soon. But, Mom... No buts. We've talked about this. Your bedtime will be moved back in a few years. For now, you don't get to stay up late. Lizzie sulked, muttering under her breath about how it wasn't right. You stayed quiet and finished your meal. It was good food, and you were pretty content to just keep eating. That's the idea. Good job, Aura. Everyone else, get to it! The rest of dinner passed by uneventfully. Cove was silent for most of it, even when you nudged him and tried to get him to talk. All too soon, the table was cleared, the games in the living room were put away, and you were all steered to your bedrooms. Oh, is this one going to be really short or what? Mom finished tucking you in and kissed your brow, just as Mommy poked her head in the room. All ready for lights off, you two? You were lying comfortably in your bed, and the blanket hiked up under your armpits. You could kick it off later if it got too hot. Mom had set up the sleeping bag on the floor for Cove, just beside your bed. He had already wiggled inside. I think so. Perfect. I'll go say goodnight to Lizzie then. Mom tweaked your nose, chuckled when you squawked in annoyance, and left. Mommy took her place, sitting on the edge of your bed. Sweet dreams, sweetie. She pressed a soft kiss on your forehead. You giggled as strands of her hair fell forward and tickled you. Mommy smiled down affectionately at you, then moved her attention to Cove, who watched from his spot on the floor. Do you need anything before falling asleep, honey? What does your dad do? Sometimes... Hey, no glasses! Sometimes he picks me up and lifts me really high. And he shakes his hand like he's gonna let go, but he catches me again. He keeps doing that until sometimes he does drop me on my bed. Or other times he lowers me down and we pretend like I'm crashing. Cove had become pretty excited when talking about the nightly ritual he and his dad shared. He seemed to realize how animated he was and bashfully quieted. But I don't want to do that here. Oh, how fun. Though I think you're right, that it might not be a good idea to do that tonight. The sleeping bag might not be a soft enough landing. God, Mommy's voice is rough. It's because I keep wanting to go into Undyne, like, in like how everyone thinks Undyne sounds. It's just like how Papyrus always sounds to everyone. I want to make her sound like that at first, but the more I got to know her, I was like, okay, no, I think you sound more like this, more with like kind of a raspy, aerated voice. If there's anything else, you can always ask me or Aura's other mom. But I'm the nicer one. Just don't tell her that. She laughed good-naturedly as she stood up.
Take care.
Sleep well, Cove. Night. Leaning against the door jamb, she rested a hand on the light switch. Looking to you. Good night. Good night. Sleep tight. Don't let the bedbugs bite. Geez, I haven't heard that in a long time. With a last smile, Mommy turned off the lights and stepped out, closing the bedroom door behind her. You listened to her footsteps fade as she walked down the hallway. It felt weird to not be doing or saying anything with your friend nearby. You were meant to just lay there awkwardly, and it made you uncomfortable. You were glad to have a friend like Cove. You'd feel a little silly saying it out loud, so you simply thought it. You started when Cove sighed deeply. You turned your head to look in his direction. In the dark, you could only see a faint outline of a lump under the covers.
Cove? What was that?
Nothing. I can't sleep.
Why not?
Fucking stop that! God, that's so rude. Not Lizzie. He shifted, or at least you thought he did. You couldn't see anything, since your eyes were still adjusting to the dark, but you heard his sleeping bag rustle. I want to be in my bed.
Oh.
Cove sat up. Your eyes had gotten used to the low light level, so you could see him better. He got out of the sleeping bag, wandered towards the side table, and pulled open the top drawer.
What is it?
I'm getting my glasses. He sat up too, watching as he reached inside. He paused for a second, then pulled his hand out. Instead of his glasses, though, he was holding a book. Cove turned it around in his hands, trying to figure out the proper orientation for it. You knew even without reading the title, which one it was. That was one You knew without even reading the title which one it was. There we go. Thank you. That was one your moms would read to you. It was special.
What are you doing with that?
Cove shrugged, squinting at the newly found cover in the dark. I just thought it looked cool. The compliment he afforded your special book had you grinning, your confusion forgotten.
It is really cool.
Oh yeah? What's it about?
It's a story about a squire who wants to become a knight, and there's magic.
Sword in the Stone? Does it have mermaids?
No, but...
The squire's really brave and funny. Some of them even take up a whole page. Mommy reads it to me. She uses different voices for every character. Yeah.
Some of them were really silly, too. There's lots of characters, and they all have good lines, so it's fun.
You only realized afterward that you spoke more strongly than you had meant to. Your cheeks burned. This must have been how Cove felt earlier. Thankfully, Cove didn't seem annoyed. In fact, if you didn't know any better, it seemed he liked the explanation. Cove looked excited by your words. He flipped the book over, focused at the backside summary. He must be pretty interested in it. You were reminded of the hours you'd spent hearing the tales. No matter how many times you read it, or had it read to you, you were still entertained by the story and pictures inside. Don't let the book get ripped. You glanced out the window. The moon was high in the sky. It was definitely the time when you were supposed to be asleep. You wanted to read the book with Cove. Cove called out to you in a confused whisper. What are you doing?
Getting something we need.
You let out a quick cry of victory when you found what you were looking for. You jumped back onto the bed before any hidden boogeyman could catch you unaware. Cove continued to watch as you wiggled your way beneath the blanket you discarded earlier. You pulled it up over your head. What's...
You have to come here. Bring the book, too.
After a minute... Oh, holy crap. That's so dark. I don't know if... I may have to brighten... Oh, it's getting brighter. Oh no, my eyes are just adjusting to it. After a minute, the bed dipped as Cove got on it. Dipped as Cove got on it. Oh, I get it. Then the blanket shifted. You fiddled with the flashlight in your grip, feeling for the switch. With a click, the small space flooded with a bright light. Cove sputtered, putting a hand up to shield himself from the beam. Move it somewhere else.
Sorry.
You hurriedly tilted the flashlight so it was shining down at the floor of your blanket cave and away from Cove's sensitive eyes.
Now we can read, and my moms won't know. I do this all the time. I don't stay up for too long, because Mom and Mommy check on me sometimes. I haven't been caught yet. Do you want to try?
I used to do that. Stay up late, grab like a light, and just read a book. Or, I remember trying to read books by moonlight during the summer. That was a lot easier. Cove nodded, pleased by his straightforward response. You placed the book between you and flipped it open to the first page. Meanwhile, he laid down on his belly and shuffled closer, picking up the flashlight to shine it on the pages. His face was illuminated by the warm glow. You mirrored his position, leaning in so you could see the book better. Your foreheads nearly brushed until you shuffled back a comfortable distance. You wanted the story to be narrated. You thought it was best to take turns reading the book silently.
Here,
You turned the book around so it was the right side up for Cove.
you can read a page, then I'll read it, and we can keep switching like that.
He nodded with a bit of hesitance. Cove tugged the book closer towards him. Then he began to read. You saw his mouth form words as he whispered them under his breath, inaudible to you. After some time, he finished reading the first page. He took a few moments to admire the picture covering half the page, then slid the book back to you.
Your turn.
You continued this way until you were a quarter of the way into the tale. The next time it was Cove's turn, you yawned, resting your chin atop your crossed arms. Idly, you studied Cove. His eyes were following the text, a soft smile lighting up his features. A lock of his hair fell into his field of vision, but he gave it no notice. He was lost in the story. You started when Cove caught you watching him. He raised a questioning brow, just smiling at him.
What? Nothing.
Cove shot you a strange look, but he went back to the book. You did too, even as your eyelids started to droop. When your eyes opened again, your bedroom was pitch black and silent. Your head was smushed into your pillow. Your pajamas were sticking to you, and your mouth was dry. Slowly you raised yourself onto your elbows. You yawned, the back of your throat twinging as you did. You rolled onto your side to sit up in bed, planning on getting water from the kitchen, when you saw a dark shape towering above you. You froze. Then you remembered you weren't alone in your room that night.
Cove, that you?
I don't know if that could have been heard. I hope it picked up the Cove.
Cove, that you?
That's better.
Yeah.
Yeah. You shifted and felt something cylindrical press against your thighs. You fumbled for it. The familiar weight of the flashlight pressed into your palm. You turned it on. Cove blinked at you, looking exhausted. He was in his normal clothes again, shoes and everything. His pajama pants were left on the floor, abandoned. His sleeping bag was in a similar state.
What is it?
I can't sleep. I keep waking up.
Did you have a bad dream?
He shook his head from side to side. Just can't sleep. It's weird here. He frowned. You'd helped your moms redecorate it only a few months back.
I like my room.
It's not that it's bad. I just always sleep in my bed, my room. That made things a little clearer. It wasn't anything that you'd done. Cove couldn't sleep in a new place. You wondered how long it took for Cove's bedroom in his new house to not be weird to him. Probably a while. I'm gonna go.
What?
You shook off the last of your drowsiness. He was going to walk outside back to his own house, this time of night, all by himself. He noted your shocked expression and looked at you with resolve. My dad will let me in, and I've gone outside late before, and I have to go.
You should tell my moms.
No, I don't want you to. I'll just leave. My dad can call them in the morning. You knew that you could just let him go, but something inside you was saying that wouldn't be the right thing to do.
It's too late for you to go outside on your own. You'd be bad.
Cove grumbled quietly. Doe stayed put. Okay, you can tell them. I'll wait.
Good.
When you crept into their room, Mom was still up reading in bed, while Mommy had already fallen asleep. When Mom woke Mommy up, they were both surprised to hear that Cove wanted to leave. The two of them followed you back to your room to see him.
Sweetie.
Oh, do you got like a freaking Snuggie? That thing's cool. It looks so comfy. Cove, are you alright, sweetie? Is there anything we can do to help you? I still keep looking at the freaking Snuggie. Mommy sounded tired after having just woken up, but she smiled at Cove kindly. Cove shook his head firmly, not meeting anyone's eyes as he did. So, I just want to go home. We're sorry you don't feel comfortable saying. How about you come downstairs with us and we'll call your dad to get you? Cove headed towards the door. He stopped halfway there and turned back to you. Bye, Aura, and sorry. I'll see you tomorrow.
Bye, Cove.
You watched as he shuffled past your mom's and out of the room, and Mom turned to you before leaving. All right, off to sleep, kiddo. We'll make sure Cove is taken care of. Good night again. Good night, Aura. You listened to the sounds of their footsteps on the stairs as you huddled back down in bed, pulling your blanket up around your shoulders. You were sad that Cove wanted to leave. You thought the two of you were having a good time, but you understood that it might be hard to sleep somewhere other than your own bed. Eventually, your eyes started getting heavy, and with a loud yawn, you finally got comfortable in your own bed and drifted off to sleep. The next morning, you were woken by the sound of your mom's voice and a soft shake on your shoulders. Aura, wake up. It's time to get up and at 'em. The sun was peeking through your curtains, and you rubbed your eyes. As they adjusted to the new light, Mom sat down on the bed next to you. You blinked at her for a moment, confused, until you caught the empty sleeping bag on the ground and remembered what had happened during the night. Mr. Holden came over to pick up Cove and take him home. You should have seen his hair when he turned up, half asleep. It was even messier than Mommy's in the morning. She chuckled at the thought, and you could tell she was trying to make you feel better about the whole situation, so you smiled back at her.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting us know that Cove wasn't feeling good, Aura. That was a nice thing to do. You nodded in agreement, and Mom went on to say that maybe once Cove started to feel more comfortable, that he could try and sleep over again sometime. You smiled, looking forward to another chance to show him how fun your house could be. The next time you saw Cove and Mr. Holden, they both apologized for Cove having left so suddenly. You assured them that it was okay. In the end, the two of you and your parents were eventually able to move past the ill-fated sleepover. It had all been a learning experience, according to the adults. You could accept that. There were definitely things you learned from it. Cool! Yep, that was a short one. We'll move on to the next thing. That one wasn't... I think that one had some cool visuals. I'll say that much. I like the visuals of that one. It brought up some old memories for me, honestly. Like of actually having sleepovers as a kid, which is probably something that all these events are supposed to do, and a few of them have. So that's probably a good thing. But yeah, we'll move on to the next thing. I don't want to keep jabbering all your ears off. This isn't like a video. This isn't like one of the Pumpkin Panic videos or the, the Mugenics videos. So we'll keep going on. No! Oh, wait, yes. Hey, for the first time, this is actually a big deal. And then the summer ended. Yes. Oh, there's an event to end the summer? Okay, cool. I'll never get tired of that view. You stood beside your moms, Lizzie and Cove, as the five of you watched the sun dip into the ocean, somewhere far, far away. You liked to imagine it cooling off in the water, resting itself before getting ready to shine brightly again tomorrow. That was a fun day. I didn't know they had magicians on the shopping street now. Neither did I. Oh no, we are so dull. Let's get out more.
We didn't do real magic, Mom.
How did you figure that one out?
Duh.
Because I know, that's not what real magic looks like.
Oh, Lizzie dear, there's all kinds of magic in the world. Lizzie gave Mommy a suspicious look, but didn't dispute the claim. You looked over at Cove, who hadn't said a word since you started home. He didn't look upset, though, just content. You're aware he still hadn't quite warmed up to your parents. Well, we can't sit out here all night. Time to hurry home and get cooking. Who's helping with dinner? Lizzie immediately let out a groan.
Mom, summer's almost over.
The protest was obvious. You could practically see school on the horizon. You certainly didn't want to spend your last bits of freedom cooking dinner. You could do that any other day. You put on your best puppy dog eyes. Oh, don't look at me like that.
Like what? Soon we'll have homework and reading to do. We can't do work now, too.
Lizzie made her case and then stomped her foot on the ground. You mimicked her, feeling that would add something to the argument. Well,
No.
oh, come on, Pam. I can help you with dinner. Mommy leaned in for a hug, and you knew that you were very close to victory.
Okay.
All right. But as soon as dinner's ready, you lot are coming inside. Understood?
Yes, Mom.
Yes, Mom. Cove, dear, you're welcome to join us as well. You sent him a small smile, which he returned. Cove gave a non-committal shrug to your mommy, which you took as an agreement.
So much to do, so little time. Maybe I could still get the seashell bracelet at Tynes and Trinkets. Oh, or maybe the playground, or the fireflies would probably be coming out, right?
You silently made your own plans.
Do I get a say in this?
Lizzie looked over at you, narrowing her eyes like she was very serious, contemplating the answer to that question. A strong gust of wind made you shiver. Lizzie huffed as she wrapped her arms around herself.
Rude.
Doesn't the wind know that summer's not over yet?
That's all Lizzie said before abruptly turning on her heel and heading off in the direction your mother's had gone.
Where are you going? I'm going to my room. I have lots of plans if I want to make the most of tomorrow.
You thought this over, looking off towards the water again. Lizzie didn't wait, and before long she was disappearing off down the road. Meanwhile, Cove was going in the opposite direction, heading for the beach. You stayed with Cove. I spend more time. I've spent time with Lizzie, but Lizzie seems like she wants to go do her own thing. I'm gonna stay with Cove. You stayed with Cove. Cove gave you a smile that you couldn't help but return. Cool. He made a little gesture that you interpreted as follow me, and then started heading to the waves. Cove knelt down, picking up something you quickly identified as a smooth rock. He reared his arm back, then tossed it out into the water. Let's see here. You were impressed. It was a good toss. That was pretty neat. It wasn't a long throw, but he didn't care to try for that. The rock sunk kind of like a rock and fell kind of like a rock and fell back down almost right after he tossed it. You were impressed over how far he got it to go.
What are you doing?
I'll look for my own rock. Deciding to join Cove, you searched nearby for any rocks or shells that you could throw. You found a shell that would suit your purposes, a smile growing as you tossed it as hard as you could. It landed with a wet-sounding thonk a few feet away and slipped down into the water. When you looked over at Cove, he didn't seem to notice that his throw had been more impressive. Cove was looking down at his cast, scratching idly at the pink surface, even though you were pretty sure he couldn't feel it. His brows were furrowed, and there was a frown on his face.
It's not fair.
It's not fair. I had to wear this cast for ages. I can't even swim. How'd you get it? I was jet skiing. Freaking badass.
Cool.
You immediately regretting saying that out loud, your face heating up, but it was too late to take it back now. Cove looked a little taken aback by your outburst, but after a second he gave a small nod. He then continued to explain. I crashed. He gestured to his arm as if to say, and this was the result. Yeah, makes sense.
It's hard to believe you're allowed to jet ski.
Whoa.
Well, I'm not. Oh. Cove let out a huff, plopping down into the sound. I can't believe summer's almost over. You sat down next to him and nodded in agreement, regardless of the sudden topic change. I don't want to go to school. I mean, I would. I don't want to go to a new school. I think it'll be the same school as you and Lizzie. My dad said something about that.
Cool, you're going to like it. Everyone's super nice.
You'd only ever been to the one school, but you were sure that his old school couldn't have been that much better. Then again, He did have to make new friends and meet new teachers. It could be kind of scary. Cove shook his head, then wrapped his good arm around his knees as he drew them to his chest. You heard a sniffling sound, and when you took a good look at his face, you realized that his eyes were wet.
I want to go home.
I want to go home. You never had to move before, but you thought you could understand. If you had to go to a new school all of a sudden with all new people, you'd probably be dreading it too. Even though you sort of maybe understood, you still weren't even sure how to help.
Okay, I'll see you later.
Cove gave his head a small shake. No, I want to go back home. Right. Cove wanted to go back to his old home, the one that sat waiting someplace far from here, the one he would bring up whenever he felt this sad. It had been a while since he had moved in, but he didn't seem to feel any better about being here. He settled back down into the sand, trying to consider what to do.
Do you hate it here?
Cove's brow furrowed once more. Then he shook his head. You felt a rush of relief fill you. You liked having Cove here. It would be sad if he'd been miserable the whole time. You're not gonna leave, right? You'll still be around? The question was a little surprising.
Of course. Why would I go?
Your parents would have mentioned if you were going to move or something, right? After a second, Cove gave a little nod. Once I get my cast off, we could go swimming. You were fine with him changing the subject again.
Okay.
You had to say, swimming did sound fun, even if it was already getting chilly out. Cove smiled, then looked back to the waves. My dad keeps saying I'll get used to everything eventually. That I'd feel better then. It used to make me angry. I didn't want to get used to everything. You spared a glance over at Cove, and saw the anger had slipped off his face in favor of something almost puzzled. But maybe that would be okay after all, as long as I really do feel better. I can't see it. You could remember a long time ago, when you'd first started going to school. You had absolutely not been okay with the idea of being away from your parents for most of the day, to listen to strangers tell you what to do and sit with kids you'd never met before. Things changing is hard. You held his hand. You're not quite sure what to say to that, so instead you reached out and took a hold of Cove's hand. The one closest to you is the one with the cast, so you made sure you were very gentle. As you watched, Cove's eyes got a little misty once more. You got the feeling that they were different tears than the ones from before, though. I hope next summer I'll surf and go exploring, and everything will feel like it's supposed to again. You gave a little nod, resting your head on your own knees. The two of you sat quietly, taking in the sound of the waves. You hoped that Cove would be able to accept this place as his new home. You definitely tried to help, in what ways you could. There were so many wonderful things here. Cove probably hadn't even seen yet. Lost in thought, you started a bit when you heard a faint, familiar sound. The sound of your mom shouting your name. You looked over your shoulder, realizing it was probably time for dinner. Time had really gone by fast. You stood and dusted the sand off yourself.
My mom's calling. It's time for dinner. You should come.
Cove looked up at you, expression screaming reluctance, yet ultimately, okay. When you smile, Cove returned one of his own. Aura, thanks. It was nice. It was nice where you were right then, but the two of you couldn't stay there in your own little world any longer. You were being called forward. So the both of you ran off towards your house, leaving the waves and the summer behind. Yay! In between. Wait, what?